All right, let's be real for a second. How many times have you heard people say that cats and dogs are just born to hate each other? Like, it's just the way it is. Dogs chase, cats run, they fight. It's some unwritten law of nature. But is it really? Or is that just one of those things we believe because we've been told it a million times? Because today, I have a story that completely flips that idea upside down. It's about a family in Japan that proves cats and dogs aren't just capable of getting along, they can actually be best friends. And not in some forced, let's just tolerate each other kind of way. I mean a real deep, almost unbreakable friendship. And honestly, I think we can all learn something from them. But before we get into that, let me ask you something. If you had to pick, are you more of a dog person or a cat person? Maybe you've always had dogs and you just don't get cats. Or maybe you've had a cat since you were a kid and dogs just seem too much. Either way, most of us lean one way or the other, right? Well, that was exactly the problem for this couple in Japan. The husband, a hardcore dog lover, always had been. He loved their loyalty, their energy, the way they were always happy to see him. To him, dogs weren't just pets, they were family, and he already had 3 of them. 3 adorable Shiba Inus named Saki, Ibuki, and Hazuki. His pack, his pride and joy. But his wife, she had always dreamed of having a cat. She wasn't against dogs. Obviously, she loved the 3 Shibas, but deep down, she felt like something was missing. She had always imagined having a cat curled up next to her, purring softly while she read a book. You know, that quiet kind of companionship only a cat can bring. Now, if you've ever been in a relationship, you know how these kinds of disagreements go. One person wants something. The other person is like, no way, that's a terrible idea. And then the debates begin. Would a cat even fit in with 3 dogs? Would the dogs accept it? Would it turn the house into chaos? Would the cat be happy? Would they regret it? After what must have been endless back and forth conversations, they finally decided to give it a shot. 1 cat, just 1. If it didn't work out, they'd figure something out, but they had to at least try. And that's how Kiki, a little American shorthair, entered their lives. Now, I know what you might be thinking. How did the dogs react? Did they bark their heads off the second they saw her? Did Kiki freak out? Did the whole house turn into some kind of animal war zone? Surprisingly, no. Kiki was cautious at first, like any cat would be. She took her time, watched from a distance, and didn't rush into anything. And the Shibas, they were curious, but they weren't aggressive. No growling, no lunging, no signs of get this intruder out of our house. And that's when something incredible happened. Instead of treating her like an outsider, the Shibas slowly started treating Kiki like one of them, like a little sibling. They let her be near them. They didn't chase her. They didn't make her feel unsafe. And little by little, day by day, Kiki started getting closer. Until one day, she did something that shocked her owners. She copied them. It started with little things. She'd follow them around, sit where they sat, even nap right next to them. But then it got weirder. She started copying their behaviors. The Shibas had a routine. They'd wait patiently before eating their food, all sitting in a neat row until their owner gave them the signal. You know, that classic well-trained dog behavior. Well, one day Kiki just joined in. She sat down with them, waited, and only started eating when they did. And it didn't stop there. She started lining up for walks, sitting next to them for family pictures, even responding when they were called. It was like she had decided, okay, I guess I'm a dog now. And the Shibas, they were totally cool with it. No jealousy, no confusion, just complete acceptance. At this point, their owners were like, what is happening? They had expected struggle, maybe even chaos. But what they got was something beautiful, Four animals, all different, living together like they were meant to be. And honestly, isn't that kind of amazing? This whole thing really makes you think. How many times do we assume something won't work just because that's what we've been told? How often do we miss out on something great because we think it's not supposed to be that way? This family could have stuck to the old belief that cats and dogs don't mix. They could have played it safe, never gotten kicky, and just kept things as they were. And sure, they would have been fine. But they would have missed out on something incredible. Instead, they took a chance. And in return, they got a home filled with even more love, even more joy, and proof that differences don't have to divide us. And isn't that a lesson we all need sometimes? So now, I want to hear from you. Do you have pets that are total opposites, but somehow make it work? Have you ever seen an animal do something totally unexpected like this? Or maybe this is your sign to take a chance. To open your home to a new furry friend, even if it seems a little crazy at first. Because who knows? You might just end up with your own version of Kiki, someone who surprises you, changes your perspective, and makes your life better in ways you never expected. So tell me, what's your story? Drop it in the comments. And if you know someone who still believes cats and dogs can't be friends, send this to them. Let's change some minds together. And hey, if you're thinking about adding a new pet to your family, maybe this is your sign to go for it. Because sometimes the best things in life are the ones we never saw coming.